Alright.
Come
So
on.
we're live. What you saying to me? Big Strives in the building. What you saying to me, my brother?
Come on, dog. What you saying, my bro, man? Long
Aye,
time. It's been a long time coming, alive.
it's been a long time coming, my friend. You know what? We've been talking about doing this, you get me? So it's only right. We tap in, we log in, we get this thing popping. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
So, boy, like, man's calling this loose cannons, yeah? Because
Talk to me. What's the thinking
because
behind this one?
because loose cannons, we're both gooners, yeah, we're both gunners, we're both Arsenal supporters, we're both loose cannons, and we both have differences of opinion, and we're
Yeah, man.
both very vocal about those opinions. Do you get what I'm saying?
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Still, it should make for a good episode. Still, then.
This should make for a good episode because we've not had a chance to sit down and have a real chat for a minute. Do you get what I'm saying? So, hey, big up Mimi. I see you. I see you in the chat on Twitch. Actually, do you know what? I don't know if you can see it in your corner, but in your right hand corner, you can click up comments. So people, you can see the comments. All the comments from Twitch and YouTube should pop up in the corner. We should be live. We should be live on YouTube as well. So if I click on the YouTube, we see if we can get. I don't know if we can get the link up. I don't know. Mimi, you're here. I don't know if you got my YouTube channel, Big Dog _27, but if you could throw the link in the chat for us, that would be lovely. You done know, but yeah, Strabs. All right, I'm gonna get to it with you still, yeah.
Come on.
I'm gonna get straight in, my brother. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. So,
Let's do it, bro. Let's do it. I'm just letting you know if I'm not, I ain't holding back no punches, bro.
I know, I'm ready for you, fam. I'm ready. But you know what? It's interesting because I already see in the group chat your opinions on this shit already.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So you gotta know where I'm gonna.
I
But you
kind
know
of know
what?
where you. Yeah,
I'm gonna be a bit more. I've had some time to level it out. I think I can be objective more time, but yeah. Let me see what you. Let's hear what you've got to say or what you wanna throw at me, and I'll just give you my honest opinion. Crucify me for it if you like. But you know, all I can say is I'm a passionate gooner, innit? I don't always get it right, but
nah, for real. So basically, all I'm gonna ask you, like, listen, coming off the back of last season, yeah, with like how the season ended for us and how we're moving at the moment. What is your current feeling on how Arsenal is moving right now?
yeah. Damn, yeah. When you said you're going in straight at the deep end, you weren't
Hey,
playing.
listen, I'm going in, I'm going in. And even in the process, while I'm going in, I'm just going to quickly get this link up and I'm going to share it with the people. Then while you talk on what you got to say, you know what I'm saying?
No problem, my bro. So look, Arsenal. I'm disappointed. I've been disappointed. Um, I've been disappointed, but you know what? Like it was a weird one. It was a weird roller coaster. So from about October, I almost resigned the league. Like I started, yeah. Like I was like, look, yo, like I had my reasons for it. Some people call it excuses. I had my reasons for it. I thought, wow, like too many injuries already. Some of these
Yeah,
PJ Morel decisions just felt a little bit imbalanced. Like I just felt like
yeah,
we got officiated differently. I was saying that at the time. Like I think me and you, we've had many discussions. And then it got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sideline those reasons. I'm gonna sideline those opinions. And I started looking a little bit at our team, at our gaffer, at the squad, and I felt we were a bit naive at times. I felt like, obviously, like I do feel like it's a bit unfair the way we get officiated, but I still felt like Trossard's when Trossard was he a yellow card or was it a red? He did
yeah.
something
He
and he
got
got
sent off
someone.
the double
Yeah,
yellow against Man City.
I thought it was silly. Declan Rice is one. A captain of West Ham, England international. I just felt like, although it was harsh, I thought it was naive. Saliba's one. I think he got left in the lurch. I think it was that by Trossard again, but I still thought it was naive when he got set off. So I started thinking to myself that, you know what, as much as we're a little bit unlucky with some of the decisions and some of the way we're being officiated, I did also look at us as a team and being like, look, you must recognize the landscape of the Premier League that you man are playing in. Sometimes you just gotta operate differently. Like if I relate it to even just everyday life, yeah, like bro, I'm gonna get freaking treated differently to some of my
Hmm.
freaking counterparts, bro. Like
Yeah,
it's just the way of the world, isn't it? Now I can either cry about it or I can level up or I can adapt and I can adjust. And glory be to God, I'm doing all right in life because I've adjusted, I've adapted. So I want my team to do the same thing. And
Yeah,
as the season kept on going on, I started thinking, yo, like, how can it be Liverpool's to lose already? And it was only
yeah,
in October, November. So I was
yeah,
disappointed from then, Big Dog. So
yeah,
then
yeah.
the Champions League run comes and it kind of revives my season a little bit. I'm excited. I'm thinking,
But
yo,
be real, you was anti for a lot of the season though. Like you was real. Like I remember we had conversations after Warren's birthday, and we was
yeah,
out
yeah,
on the
yeah,
roads for 2 hours chatting and going back and forth. And you was even, yeah, you was going at it then about the whole season and how it was looking. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
What was his birthdays? What's that? That's like April, innit? I think it was
Yeah.
April.
By April, you had lost all faith in
By
Arteta.
April, yeah. 'Cause
By
I'll tell
April,
you,
you had lost all faith in
by,
Arteta. You was
by
going mad.
April, I was disgusted, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, because by December, I think we're like within 6 points or so of the
Yeah,
top. Like, I don't think we were top at all this season. So, like, it's hard to say, that we gave Liverpool a title challenge because, in my opinion, we didn't. But we were second place, yeah.
yeah,
So I just felt like Liverpool won the Premier League in a one-horse race, and it's just mad disappointing when you think about the last two seasons when we led the Premier League for like 93% of the season, then we ended up not winning the Premier League, bottling it. I'll
yeah,
just call it as it is. The second
yeah,
season, I wouldn't say we bottled it. I thought we gave a much better account of ourselves. The second half of the season, we were near perfect, other than that draw with Man City and was it Aston Villa that we lost? I think it was the
yeah,
game we
yeah.
lost to Aston Villa.
Absolutely, yeah.
In that game, I almost forgave Mikel Arteta just because of how well we played in that run up. But then again, I'm thinking, why did you change it in that game? Like, why have you like you've seen Havertz picking up momentum and picking up finding form up top? Why did you put him back in the midfield? And it just didn't work
Mm,
against Villa. But
yeah,
all
yeah,
right, cool. Like, charge that one. We did well for the rest of it. It went to the final 45 minutes of the season. We missed out by what, a point or 2 points.
yeah.
This
Point. I
season,
feel. Listen, I'll be honest. I thought we was unlucky. If I'm honest with you, I felt like both. I think all the seasons it's been unlucky, man. Like I feel like even in that one, it's hard because you think like, yeah, we drew and then we lost to Aston Villa, yeah. But then if you think about it, that whole period of time that Aston Villa was the only loss. How much
yeah,
more can you do in the second half of the season and come up short? And I know a lot of people blamed Arteta for it, but City won the treble that season. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like they were phenomenal that season. And I think what's been unlucky for us is that we've come up against a City team was unreal. I think last season, I think what was disappointing more for me last season was the fact that we just couldn't get a break. Do you get what I mean? Like
yeah.
it
You
was
mean
so
this season that just we? You mean this?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
this season that just ended. I just feel like we just couldn't get a break. I feel like the whole thing was disjointed. I felt like, all right, you told me when we had a run of games where our starting lineup played 3-4 games in a row. Like our full starting lineup. When I talk about starting lineup, I'm talking about Martinelli, Havertz, Saka, Odegaard, Rice, Partey, and then um, even then because we Calafiori at left back, Gabriel. Because it's only through injuries that Miles Lewis Skelly kind of got a chance to bust through. But before that, you would have thought Calafiori might have played on the left hand side with Gabriel, Saliba and Timber, or maybe they might have played Ben White and Timber on the left with Rare in goal. Do you get what I'm saying? And
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
feel like I can't remember any time in the season when we was able to run with that. Maybe 3-4 games in the season because someone was always out. Moreno was out from the start. Then we lost Gabriel Jesus, we lost Odegaard, and I just feel like the season was disjointed. I was quite surprised, and I know we spoke on this. Like I was quite surprised that even up until the West Ham game we could have bought it within 5 points. Do you get what I mean? And
Yeah.
then it also makes me think for all the how good Liverpool were meant to have been last season, were they that great? Because not that I'm not taking nothing away from them, but the reason why I say that is because for how poor everyone could look at Arsenal and say they had injuries, the sending offs, all these things that was going against us to still be within touch at the West Ham game where you can bring it back within 3 points, yeah,
Yeah,
do
yeah,
you get what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like, I mean, within 5 points is a bit like how because we've had such a topsy turvy season, and then I feel
And
like
this,
had we maybe won that West Ham game, it might have put pressure on.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'll say, you know what? I think what you're saying, there's a bit of credence there because it's almost like Liverpool were trying to mess this, just trying to mess up. They was trying to mess it up. It's like, but every single time, like there was a little wobble, we just wobbled harder. It's like we was like, if they drop point, don't worry, man. We'll drop points with you, man. Just hold my beer. We don't worry, man. We got this. We'll mess up a little bit harder, and we just gave them an easy run. And that's where I think like where you started at the top of the show. Like I was a little bit anti. I just was mad disappointed. And in January, Doug, man, that was unforgivable.
Yeah.
That was unforgivable, bro. You do not get to January, a transfer window where you've got Newcastle to play. You've got semis against Newcastle. You got the FA Cup against United, because we know that what the draw is, and everybody's salivating. We're all licking our lips at the thought of spanking Manchester United. Pause.
Yeah. Quickly though, big up Chris Coutinho. Yeah, so his uncle used to play for Telford United. He's a woman now. Big up your uncle.
See that comment?
Big up your uncle, that's random, but big up your uncle same way,
yeah, man. And then what is it? And then obviously we end up not doing anything in the transfer window. And obviously, you know how I feel. I don't know the listeners that's just getting introduced to me for the first time. I wasn't happy with Arsenal's transfer window. I graded it about a 4 out of 10. No, I think 4 or 5 out of 10. I can't remember what I said at the time, but I think it's 4 or 5 out of 10. Like it's somewhere online anyway, because I just wasn't happy with it. So in January, we had an opportunity to bolster that, and we didn't do anything. And then we've come up against a PSG in the Champions League, ultimately, who we beat comfortably in October. I was there, I watched it live. And then this time round, they're a completely different outfit. But guess what?
Yeah.
They went into the window. They went into the transfer window. Yeah, they were a different team. Yeah. We weren't,
and they brought talent through, because I think when we played them, I'm not even sure if Doué was even part of the squad at that time like that. You might remember better than I do, but yeah, they went in the transfer window. They, Kvaratskhelia, I can't pronounce his name properly, they went and got him. I don't even know why we didn't go and get him. You get what I'm saying? But
he was available. Yeah, he was available.
He was there. There was options. There were players available in that window, and we spent a lot of time discussing that transfer window, because even for myself, I felt like that window was one of those things that now not spending in the window meant you could spend now, and that will lead us on to kind of how this window is getting on. But it's like I felt like there was a bigger picture at hand, and
that's what you kept saying. I was thinking, boy, Big Doug must have Arteta's number or something, because he was telling me about all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. I'm like, bro, like I could just see what's going on in front of me, bro.
I just do my due diligence. But my thing was just that, like, I just feel like, all right, cool. Like, had we went and got Watkins and it didn't work out, and then we would have spent, well, let's say 40 million wasn't going to get over the line, and we went and spent 50, 60 million on Watkins, and it didn't work out.
What if it did work?
Yeah, both ways. If it did work, all right, let's say he might have got us a goal or two. He might even have put us back into the title race or something. But then you got also, we will never know, but then you also got to think, what if it didn't? And let's say we spent that 50 mil, that 60 mil on Watkins, and then we found out the second half of the season, he isn't the guy for us. Now we're stuck with him on a 4-year deal, probably on some nice wages, maybe semi-injury prone as well. And
you can say that about anyone, though. Like, even we're linked with Sesko now, we're linked with Gyökeres now, and it could not work with them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
100%.
You know what I mean? 100%. So at some point, though, you've got to put yourself in a position where you can say, I did the best that I could, given the circumstances, to put us in a position to beat Newcastle and win the League Cup, to give ourselves the best possible chance in the Champions League, and to give ourselves the best possible chance in the Premier League. And I can't say that Arsenal Football Club did that for us. And that's why I was disappointed. And that's why I've become anti. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm seeing it as that's 4 years now. We've been unable to cross the line. The first year, we finished 5th when we should have been top 4. And when we got spanked 3-0 by Spurs, holding that madness.
But don't you feel like that season, like it was just a lack of the experience, the squad depth, like I feel hard because you've always had a harsh stance on it with Arteta. Like you've always come across like you're very critical of Arteta, innit? And I just feel like
I'm also very complimentary of him. I rate him a lot. I rate him a lot.
Let's be real. Don't try.
I'm being very real. I'm
Let's-
being real. You just don't have it. But I promise you, I'm complimentary of Arteta. I give him his credit, bro. Like he's a rookie manager. Like he's the first job that he's ever had, and you've come in at Arsenal. It's a big pressure job, bro. Like you can't come in after. Like let's have it right. Arsene Wenger. We could probably still smell Arsene Wenger in the dressing rooms. Like he's not been that long since he's gone. Unai Emery was only there for a season or so. He had to take over an Unai Emery team that was languishing like 14th or so after Freddie Ljungberg was the caretaker manager. It was a tough gig. Like I
won the FA Cup though,
and then he went and won the FA Cup. That's what I'm saying.
A lot of people try to like.
They tried to brush that one under, but no,
Yeah,
you got to give him his credit. And then he won the Community Shield as well. And they weren't easy fixtures. So I'm thinking, yo, Arteta, all right, you know, I'm starting to enjoy the football again. I'm winning trophies. Well, a trophy. I'm thinking, okay, it can only get better. But then we finished 8th again. I'm like, you know what? That team was better than 8th, but you know what? You're gutting the team out. You're working your way up. Yeah. Let's see what go on. Then we're looking like we're gonna get top 4. I'm thinking, yo, Arteta he's the second coming. Yeah. And then we're looking like we're shooting for top 3. Somehow we finish 5th. That's the first little alarm bell. But I'm like, you know what? It's your second and a half, third season. I'm gonna belie you. But hold on a second. How the hell did you end up finishing 5th? All right, I'm gonna keep a little eye on you. And then
well, we know Newcastle turn us over, man.
But and then he does the madness. I'm like, hold on. The first 6 games of the season, the next season, we're just winning. And none of us wanted to even dare about thinking about we could win the league. Bro, we're top and we just won't stop being top of the league. Like we're all keeping it humble. 10 games to go, we start believing.
I can't lie, that season, the feel-good factor around the club was crazy. That season when like the wheels started to fall off the West Ham game, and I always criticized them, man. Them man Partey trying to flip the ball over Declan Rice's head, all of
he
that.
He got fouled. I think he got fouled. I think Declan Rice fouled him in that game.
Slightly. But then in 2 games on the trot, we dropped 2-0 leads. I was devastated, but I blame that on Ramsdale. You know me, I went mad at Ramsdale because I feel like when the wheels started to fall off, I feel he started to show his true colours as a relegation keeper, innit? You know what I mean?
You can't do Aaron like that, man.
I'm doing him dirty because I remember the Liverpool game, when all the wheels, he did make some good saves. In his frantic efforts to keep the ball out of the net, he made some fantastic saves to keep it a draw. But also at the same time, that's the word that we can use for his goalkeeping that half of the season was frantic. Bro.
Yeah, but remember, it was Granit Xhaka that he riled up the fans for no reason. We were cruising 2-0 up. It was Granit Xhaka. Like, don't get me wrong, I missed Granit Xhaka like as soon as we missed him. But in that game, I was like, brother, like contain your temper, bro. Like, what have you done? All of a sudden, he's got in Trent's face or whoever it was.
Riled up the crowd, riled them up, and then Klopp got them fired up, It was a hard one to take. That was a hard one to take. That
trust me. But then you know what, Doug? You put that down to inexperience, young team, young manager, rookie manager. We go again.
100%. Yeah,
and then
100%.
we did go again, and it was a good. It was probably our best title challenge out of the 3 that if we can even include this season. That last season, and I believed you remember me in the group chat. I was betting everybody. I thought we was going to win the league that season. We missed out by just a point or whatnot, and 45 minutes.
That one was hard to take. That one was
very hard to take. So you got to understand why I'm where I am now, because I started losing faith in Arteta. Like I'm like, bro, you're not crossing the line now. So now I'm starting to wonder about, is it the manager now? Because you've built your team. You've rebuilt your team, like Thierry Henry said in the overlap. It's a very tall building. You've been building for a minute. I ain't seen the finals. I ain't getting a day out in Wembley. This is a dope team. Is it a good team or not?
I feel it is. I feel like we're a few pieces of the puzzle away from building something that is like mental. But this is it's a hard one because we spoke on this, because I feel like, yes, Rome weren't built in a day, and I feel there's a lot of pressure from the media. There's a lot of pressure from fans and everything to get it right. And as you know, it takes clubs time. You look at Man City, when all the money came in, they didn't just win it in the first. Look at Chelsea. When Chelsea got Abramovich money, it took them a few years to get it right. Spending money on the players. I feel like he had to strip the team, rebuild it from the ground up, and then on top of that, you run into bad luck having Man City as the guys you're going up against, and they're in their peak form.
Mm.
Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel
Yeah.
like it's been a bit unlucky. And then last season, at some point, that luck would run out, and we had all the injuries and the red cards and all these foolishness things happen that gave like an easy title to Liverpool in a sense for them because there was no pressure really. Do you get what I
Mm.
mean?
I
Even when
do.
they were fumbling towards the end, there wasn't no pressure, and not even just from Arsenal. There wasn't no pressure from anybody. Do you
Yeah,
get what
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying? It's not like Man City were in the mix. It weren't like Chelsea. No one weren't like. It was just easy. Like no one weren't
Yeah.
really like making the effort to nick points off them. But going forward now, like
And Liverpool bought Oli Chiesa. All Liverpool did, yeah, was buy Chiesa, and they changed their manager.
yeah,
So,
change the manager. But
so
then
now,
he already had a team that I feel like with Liverpool, what Slot inherited was a team that already had Klopp's DNA. Do you get what
yeah,
I'm
but
saying?
okay.
Yeah,
So
because
let me ask you this then.
hmm
What if we changed our manager?
what if we changed our manager? I still feel like Arteta has a lot to give. I still do. I still no,
Is-
honest to God. I
what-
feel like you know what Klopp. The thing with Klopp, right? I feel like Klopp had won it all with Liverpool.
mm,
And I don't feel like Liverpool needed a change. I think Klopp was ready to move on. Do you get what I'm saying? Or he would have
mm.
stayed. I feel like he kind of, but I don't think the club was ready to let go of Klopp. Do you get what I mean?
No,
But
no, no. It was Klopp's
he had,
decision, definitely.
yeah, it was definitely Klopp's decision, and he had the season where he was a bit lackluster. They were leading all of that season, then they fell off. Do you get what I
Yeah.
mean? And then and then City went on to win it, but. I just think he kind of, but they weren't ready to leave him, and he could still be battling it out now. He could still be in a job whether he lost last season or not. Do you get what I mean?
You
He
know what?
still
It's
would have been
funny
in a
though.
job.
I
But
think if Klopp stayed on, this might be a controversial opinion. I don't think Liverpool would have won the Prem. I don't know. I feel like I don't like, and I think he may have even known that, which is probably why he tapped out. Like he was getting tired. Like
maybe, maybe, but
like
then also I feel like there was a few moments where he was having a few little scraps with the players. Him and Salah showed there was like on pitch. Remember when Salah was getting brought on
yeah,
for a
yeah, yeah.
substitution? There was things that were happening that showed that there was a lot maybe going on. So
Mm,
maybe, and we just don't find out about that stuff. You get what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So maybe he maybe felt like before I lose the change room and it really drops off, let me call it a day. And I think with Arteta, I feel like he still has the players. Players still believe in him. I feel like the players are still playing for him, and
They're
I
young.
feel like
They're young, man. They're
yeah,
young,
but they're young. But then
and they're gonna fit because he's that father figure kind of thing to them.
I don't feel like it's a father figure. Like I feel like when you actually deep it, and I've always said this about Arteta, right? And I feel like it's about getting the personnel. I've always felt that Arteta always sets the team up to win. Do you get what I'm saying? Uh,
Mhm.
big up Warren, big you up, man. London Athletic, my dog. Yeah, I feel like every game
Yeah, come on,
Arteta.
man. We got to chat a little bit of Liverpool there, was We got to
No,
chat a bit of
we'll
Liverpool
get
because
to them. We'll get to them.
no, because
We'll get
he's
to
saying
them.
he's logged in and he sees his dogs talking Liverpool, but you're the
Yeah.
champs.
Oh
We
yeah,
got to
yeah,
give the
yeah,
champs
yeah.
a little bit. You
Yeah,
know, we got to show them some honor.
we got to show them a little honor, but it's just that we was just, you know what I mean, touching on you lot and moving on real quick. You get me,
Yeah,
Wazza? But
man.
like like basically my thing is I always feel like with Arteta, he always sets the team up to win. So I feel like he always sets the team up to win, and and you know how you can tell from the chances created, yeah, chances created. People always talk about the PSG game and all these chances, and Arsenal had the better GA and all of this and whatever, right? But my thing is the fact that having the personnel to finish off those chances. Now, what you look at the difference between PSG and Arsenal in that tie was that PSG with in the first leg was able to get the early goal when Dembele scored the goal, but then you look at all the chances that Arsenal had in terms of Martinelli and Trossard. Now, let's say you had different personnel in that position, and you had someone like, let's say, an Aguero or Suarez, yeah, in those Trossard position and that Martinelli position. You know they're scoring. Do you get what I'm saying? But the
So
chances were there, and I feel like in a lot
why
of
have we got
games,
that? Why have we got
no,
that? Why have we got that
but
though?
I feel like right now, like even with you look at the season when we was flying and Martinelli and Saka was scoring goals and all of this, I feel like
He
there's
changed the
also
way they
trust.
played. He
Yeah, but there's
changed the
also
way they played though, Doug.
yeah, he did change the way they play. Like in terms of the following season,
I'm
they
blaming
were.
Arteta.
But then, even then, people complain that we wasn't defensively strong.
So
Then he
all right.
gets defensively strong. To be defensively strong, you have to find a balance, especially a manager. new to a job, trying to work things out on the go. We might have went a bit too defensive, then lost a bit of that attacking. Then you got to tweak it again. But then
Do you
also,
think we've gone too defensive?
I wouldn't say we've gone too defensive, but I would say that I think because of the lack of personnel and Arteta not being able to trust the players, like I feel what this season showed him is that he has to trust the players because a lot of his first team went down. Odegaard went down, he had to trust Ranieri. Saka went down, he had to trust Ranieri. He
So
had to
this
bring
is
Moreno up front. He had to then play Miles Lewis Skelly at left back. So I feel like what
he didn't
this
have to do
season is
any of
probably
that. You know what
no,
he had to do? He had to equip the team suitably
yeah,
to
but then
for a Premier
but
League
then
campaign.
uh,
He
uh,
went out there with a light squad. He went out there with a
the
4 out of
squad
10
weren't like
transfer. It was light.
it.
He
It
did
was
a
light
press
because of
conference.
injuries. It
He
was
did a
light.
press No, before injuries, we were light. So we
Yeah.
couldn't. So he was relying. This man was relying on because Saka doesn't really get injured. He's durable. Havertz doesn't really get injured. He's durable. He was relying on these man just being able to just withstand all of that football time after time after time after time with no injuries. It was naive. And you might put that down to being a rookie manager, but at that point is when you should have been both. He sent out everyone on loan. He sold Smith Rowe. He sent out Reece Nelson on loan. He sold Nketiah. He sent Fabio Vieira out on loan. And when we started dropping down like flies, we ain't got a squad no more. That's Arteta.
Yeah.
And then in January, when you got no strikers, his whole forward line's gone. Martinelli's injured, Saka's injured, Gabriel Jesus injured as per usual. He still didn't get nothing. Whereas now we need to replace Jorginho and Partey. Brother, I left my house to go and put the bins out. By the time I put the bins back up, by the time I come back upstairs and putting the bins out, we'd already signed replacements for them defensive players. He don't ramp when it comes to his defense. So when you're talking about the chances created, I'm thinking, you're right, you're right. But hold on, why ain't we got someone to finish those chances?
I feel like, and this is the thing, we've gone into it because I said, I feel like when we started the window, right? When we started the season last season, and you looked at all the attacking options, and you looked at what we had, I probably feel like they probably looked at that and felt like they had enough. Do you get what I'm saying? I feel like they probably looked at it and said like they had enough to get them where they needed to go. Because you look at back last, they challenged for second place. You look the season before, they challenged. So you're looking at it thinking, all right, couple additions, we cover a couple bases, we've got enough. You look at the attacking lineup. Whether now looking back, we can say that attacking lineup weren't good enough. But you start the season, you got Gabriel Jesus, Trossard, Martinelli, Saka, Havertz. You got 5, and then Ranieri, we didn't know he was going to come through, but he came through. You think you start in the season, you think you got options. You think in midfield you got Partey, Moreno, Declan Rice, Odegaard. You get what I'm saying? You're looking at it thinking you've got, and especially in defense, you look at it and think you've got enough. You don't expect to have the amount of, and you also look at your team and you expect the best out of your team. Now I feel like it has shown us that, yeah, some players cannot be relied upon to perform in the big games. You have 1 or 2 that can step their game up, and now you have, a couple that man. And don't forget Raheem Sterling, and Raheem, But it's like, so you go into he's on pants, but no, but it's true. Raheem Sterling as well, which at the time we was all saying we're not sure, but if he can bring back some form, so you go into that thinking you've got enough to get you through the season. But then everyone starts dropping like flies.
I'll give you credit for, because I remember when we first was linked to Raheem, I remember you weren't having it. I don't know if you remember. You weren't actually having it. But I said, you know what? He might be decent cover for Martinelli. That's what I thought.
But the reason I weren't having it is because I knew it wasn't Arteta.
We
knew that was something Edu. We knew that was something.
Why was
why I know? Because you know why it wasn't Arteta signing, because I think he probably signed off on it, but I feel like it was something that Edu probably just conjured up on deadline day. We knew we needed cover for Saka, and he just okayed it, and it came in. But you could tell it weren't his signing because of the way that he played him and used him. He used him because he had to. He didn't use him because he wanted him there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was a really bad signing. It was one of those. It was a bad signing, and so you were right. You were right not to put faith or trust in it. However, again, like, why are we waiting to literally the final hour of the window? And then the only reason we're getting Raheem as well is because Chelsea had publicly put him to the like basically put him in the trash pile and said, "Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not using." Mariska said, "Was it Mariska?" He said, "I am not using him.
Yeah.
I'm not using him." So
Yeah. No, but
and then Arsenal, the freaking Chelsea revival team decides, "Oh, you know what? Don't worry, you'll have a home with us." What's going on with us?
I feel like you know what, I've got mixed opinions because I feel like because Arteta's maybe revived a couple players' careers, he probably thinks he can do it with a few.
He ain't revived no one's career. He's
no,
just
but in
about
terms of
Havertz.
but in terms of Havertz, when Havertz got injured, we was all concerned. It wasn't like we was like let's be real. Considering Chelsea, we sold Havertz, everyone thought it was robbery. Havertz has become a pivotal player for us. Let's be real. Like
he has, but I think that says more about us than it does about Arteta's revival.
You gotta give the manager credit. The manager, that's partly to do with the manager as well.
I'm giving him credit
because when you say us,
it's more about like us as Arsenal Football Club. Like we are basically. Yeah, like because don't get me wrong, I was not having Havertz, but then all of a sudden I'm now like heading up the Havertz hive. Pause. Like I'm proper like banging on the drum for Kai Havertz, but ultimately, bro, we've probably been pushed back a couple of years with that signing because Havertz wasn't bought to be a number 9. He was bought to be
it did, and everything has a knock-on effect.
It was bought to be an 8. So that failed. So then you had to try and replace him with Merino. That's failed. Let's keep it about. That's failed. So now
you're not rating Merino.
I'm rating Merino, but I'm rating Merino because he scored 2 goals against Leicester and then became a striker. I'm not rating Merino for the position that we brought him in. I'm not rating the Havertz for the position we brought him in. I'm rating them both because they became strikers. And I need a striker so much. Yeah, I'm thirsty, bro. I'm thirsty. So I'll take anybody.
Like it's been a bit of a mix-up still. The club's been a bit of a mix-up.
That's what I'm trying to say, bro.
But so it's been a bit of a mix-up. It's been a bit of a mix-up. But yeah, I feel like there was a lot going on. Like obviously Edu left, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Edu's gone. After Edu leaving, we're finding out there's, like behind the scene issues between him and the targets and Arteta's targets and all of that. He's gone. Berta's in.
Yeah.
Now going to and I also said part of the reason why I feel like no one got bought in January is because the brother that was left in charge after Edu leaving was just not able to fill the role of being able to get anything done.
Who was that? Ato or something like that? His name?
I don't feel like he was fit for the job. He didn't know how to get anything done. I feel like, also I think
what are you saying? So you're trusting Berta right now, yeah?
I trust Berta. I feel like right now the way he's spinning plates, like they've been saying, I've been seeing that a lot in the media. He spins plates. So that means he goes, he finds out what he needs to do, spin that plate, go over there. But then that can all fuck up because when all the plates start spinning too much and everything starts crashing down, that's in a sense losing deals, isn't it? Do you get what I'm saying?
What do you think of the work he's done so far? Like,
more fridges we never learned. Big up Views on Sports, yeah. Soon, man, we're gonna get you on. He does content as well. You get me? But like I feel like right now, you know what? This leads me on to talking about what's actually going on now. Yeah, like we'll move on. We've talked about the past. We'll move and look towards the future now, yeah. And what is actually happening right now? We've brought in Norgard. Partey is left, which I'm sad to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know how you feel about it, but I do probably know how you feel about it. But Partey is gone, yeah. We've brought in so far we have Kepa, another Chelsea man, coming in for 5 million, which I think is a good bit of business there.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
And we brought in Zubimendi, but it hasn't been announced yet. But
that's good. That's good business. That's good business. I'm with you there.
And Norgard. So as it stands right now, and how things are moving, what are your views on this transfer window so far?
I thought we was on course for another 3 out of 10 window. I'll be honest with you, bro. And
what? Sorry,
another 3 out of 10 window.
As it stands, it's not lighting up anything at the moment.
But you know what? I'm gonna try and be reasonable here, and I'm gonna try and speak with less emotion here. So, Thomas Partey, he's been injury prone for most of these 5 seasons. He's missed about. I read somewhere he's missed like 81 or so games. Yeah, that's not in terms of like your best asset is player availability. Now, in my opinion, Thomas Partey was one of our best and integral players in the season just gone, and he was available for most of it. Yeah. But he's not been available for a lot of the season, and probably our best season under Arteta, he was the least available in that season. So he's not by any mean like the most like so coveted that we can't survive without him. Life moves on after Thomas Partey. However, he is definitely technically gifted, technically like one of our better players. He's one of our. He can play he's played right back for us. He's played at DM. We've seen his line breaking passes. We've seen the way Arteta uses him. We've seen how he can. We've seen he's actually transitioned from Spain into England, so he could have used that experience to also help, bring Zubimendi into the fold a little bit. Just kind of like big bro him and almost be like a bit play the Jorginho role, but in a better fashion, like, because obviously Zubimendi was probably most likely going to be the starter. Let Partey kind of maybe fade to the background a bit. They would have alternated. Give me Partey, Zubimendi with Declan Rice covering if he needs to. You got Odegaard in there. Bro, I'm all right. You take Partey out of that, and then we're bringing Christian Norgard, Brentford's captain. I'm thinking, what are you doing, bro? Are you trying to turn us into Everton, bro? And again, like Christian Norgard, I'm not saying he's a bad player. Like, I transferred him into my fantasy team for maybe 1 or 2 weeks, and I had to get rid of him. Yeah. So in those 1 or 2 weeks, if for me to even consider you, you're a decent player. Like you get stats on the board, and obviously, you know what Christian Norgard is? He's a player that does very well out of possession because he has to do that for Brentford. Yeah. We're not a team that doesn't have like that. We're not a team that struggles for possession. We have possession of the ball. Now, Christian Norgard isn't a ball playing DM as far as I know. So I'm not too sure what style Arteta is going for this season. Is he now looking to give up more of the ball? And he just wants to destroy
Norgard isn't coming in to start. Let's put it that way, yeah.
But this is the naivety that I speak about, because the same way we never planned for injuries last season. What if Zubimendi gets crunched by Gabriel like Mourinho did, and he's injured for the start of the season like Mourinho did? Then we're playing Norgard, bro.
All right, cool. But listen, at the end of the day, I feel like in terms of business, I feel like people aren't. Like, Norgard scored what? He scored 5 goals, got 4 assists last season for Brentford. Like his stats were pretty good for Brentford. He was their captain. I hate using the word Premier League proven, but he is Premier League proven. Played 34 games last season for Brentford, so that means barely missed a game. That shows that he is kind of reliable, and that's playing lots of minutes. So in the times when you do need him to come on, plus he is a big aerial threat. He's a big guy. Some of his goals were from set pieces and stuff like that. I feel like when you need to like come, and this is another thing, I see a lot of people pushing the narrative that he's coming in to replace Partey, which he isn't. Partey was going to move down the ranking into Jorginho's role, but he wanted more money in order to do so. And Zubimendi was obviously going to come in to start. And the thing is, I understand people saying Zubimendi has to get used to the Premier League, but I think, me personally, I think he's going to hit the road running. I think he's going to be a great addition to the side. Norgard, I actually like to think of him as a good bit of business. Now, I wasn't too sure at the beginning, but after like sitting down, thinking about it, looking at a couple of stats, looking at what he's capable of, and like even some of my friends like Big Up Micah even broke it down to me, it's starting to look like a good bit of business to me anyway, in terms of he's only cost us 9 million, he's on 40 grand a week. That for now, in a sense, in terms of short term, because he's 31, so I reckon next season or maybe in January, Arsenal might look to bring in someone that can like for like Zubimendi. But if you're looking for a short-term fix, that is a great short-term fix. He meets everything that you would want.
But why are you looking for a short-term fix?
Because this is the thing. Like if Arsenal, I've always said, and this is what I said to you the other day. I said, I'll get back to we'll get it to. I know Waz has put was Partey a good signing, and do you feel
views on the sport, views on sport? Yeah, I agree with what he's saying as well in the comments. Like, I think we should have been going for competition. Why are we going for cover? We've known for ages that Partey and Jorginho are most likely going to start getting phased out of the team, right? So And let's not be naive here. Partey's probably been talking to other clubs, and probably it just hasn't worked out for him. And let's also consider that we wanted Partey, otherwise we wouldn't have offered him or tried to extend him. So he's obviously our preferred option. Partey's probably been talking to other people. Arsenal and Partey, they wanted to do a deal. It's not worked out. Yeah. So this Norgard one, okay, I feel like it's back up. You guys are trying to frame it as smart business. I disagree. But if we are going to move on from Partey, competition. Why?
Yeah, but then there is competition. But there is competition because one, you needed to wait. I feel like these signings were to replace players. There wasn't like you got competition because you have Moreno and you have Declan Rice. Declan Rice can also play DM and he can also play in the 8. So there you have it. If things to Muvendi will they all have to kind of compete with each other for positions because Moreno's not going to be happy sitting on the bench and having our starting lineup as Rice, Zubimendi, and Odegaard. So he's going to want to compete for a position. Same way Zubimendi, let's say Moreno gets in the side, but also Arteta wants to play Declan Rice as well. That would mean Zubimendi coming at the side. So there's competition there already amongst your potential 3 starters that you have midfield players that can. Yeah, we may have got weaker, but then also bearing in mind a lot of people.
So then, can you say it's good business? If you
think I can say right now until we see Norgard kick a ball for us, we won't know, innit? Yeah. Until he goes, no, but brother,
come on, bro. You've watched Norgard. You've been watching Norgard.
I've watched Norgard, but listen, until we see him kick a ball in the Arsenal shirt, we can only say.
Of course, I'm going to support him now. As soon as he puts the red on, and right now, I'll support him. But we can talk about it as I feel like it doesn't stop us from being able to critically analyze our squad just because we're Arsenal fans. It's not like you can't sit there, and tell me, yeah, it's weaker, but yeah, man, I get the business we're doing. No, you can't. You want to win. Do you want to win? Why? How can your midfield get weaker? And then on top of that, you're not. I understand that, like Views on the Sports said as well. I think we're linked to Eze. If that news is true, that would give me a lift.
But this is what I'm trying to say. Like the transfer window is not done, right? And for me, I feel like Arsenal have answered the questions that the little possible small problems that would have occurred. Like Jorginho's gone, they let Jorginho go. Or now they've brought in someone for next to nothing. 9 mil to a club like Arsenal is no money, right? Same like
you've let someone go for free. You've let someone go for free, and then
Partey's demands was unreal. Like this is the thing, and you said it yourself in terms of when we moved on to this topic. You said it yourself. And Warren asked the question. Partey was a good signing because we know how good he can be and the potential, but then he let us down in the sense that he couldn't be relied upon. And I think Arteta is very, very strong on having people he can trust in terms of keeping fit. Let me land. In terms of keeping fit, that he maybe felt that he couldn't trust Partey to stay fit. He's 32, going on 33. Do you get what I'm saying? He wanted a pay rise, and he's also going to be moving down into a lesser role. Don't get me wrong.
We don't know that he wanted a pay rise. I've actually read that he just wanted his wages to stay the same. But so all I'm saying is we don't know because I've read conflicting stories.
Yeah, we've read conflicting stories, but either way, they couldn't agree, innit? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? They couldn't.
Do you want to know why I'm saying that's a lie that Arteta about, you see, like what you said about Partey. And how you were like obviously bigging up Arteta for wanting people that are available. You know why I think that's a lie? Because we've still got Gabriel Jesus at the club. Jesus.
And then Gabriel, every time a transfer window comes around, Gabriel Jesus happens to be always injured, bro. He was injured in January. He was injured in the summer. Came
so back into the. But Gabriel Jesus in 3 seasons, has missed about 74 odd games or so. And Partey's missed probably about 6 or 8 more games than him, or 6 or 7 more games than him. But he's had 2 more seasons. So in terms of the ratio, Jesus has been much more of a liability in terms of availability. However, where's our striker, Big Doug? Where's our striker?
100%. So 100%. But this is where we're getting onto. But this is where we're moving forward, and we're talking about what's to come, innit? Because we can always, and I know you're a big fan of talking about what has happened. Like you always referring
Nah,
back
don't
to
do me like that.
you and the January transfer window, bruv.
I just want to
Like
win.
listen, yeah,
I
I
just
hear
want to
you, but
win.
I've spent many a nights arguing with you on road in the car park at the
Yeah,
restaurant the other day. We
yeah,
spent 3 hours because
yeah,
you
yeah.
wanted to go on about January. Listen, forget the January transfer window, right? Let's forget about it. Let's talk about what's going on now, right? And I feel like Arsenal are trying to get deals done. Big up Joan and Dollard, yeah. Big fan of WTP and the SE Duns. Yes, brother, we're going to be doing more content out here, so love for that. You get what I'm saying?
I think that
Yeah.
might be a
And
woman, you know. Was it this
huh?
Joanne still? That might be a lady.
Oh, Joanne. Oh, my bad. If it is, yeah, my bad. But my thing is going forward right now, and this is leads me because this is what I was getting to. I think that alright, getting Norgard in, Prem proven Brentford manager, Brentford captain, getting him in for 8 mil, easy business. He's on 40 grand a week, lovely bit of business. Get him in there, right? He can come and do a job. He can do a job. Maybe not the signing that we all were looking for. You know, people are talking about competition for Zubimendi. Brother, the British just come. How are you gonna
Or
give him? Wait, let me land. Are you gonna
no, no,
give a man competition before he's kicked the ball?
no,
He
no. But it's okay.
ain't even been announced yet,
No,
brother.
I
Man,
get
say
you.
competition. Wait, let me land, right? So
Yeah.
now, yeah, leading me on to what I was saying to you about the January window, about the fact that Arsenal not doing business is probably because they had a plan of what they wanted to do this window, yeah, which
Mhm.
we're all yet to see because the trigger hasn't been pulled on anything just yet. But
Mm. But
wrapping
linked
up
to
the
that
small
that
bits of
defender,
business,
that Valencia defender, again,
which
although he's a
I feel
defender,
like that's gonna get done because I
yeah,
feel like that's a Saliba backup kind of thing.
he's a decent player from the little I've seen, but it's just like so yeah, sorry, I don't even want to cut you, but I was
Yeah.
more so just adding to your point that I can see, yeah, we are
All
addressing
right.
some of
So
the
now,
areas, but we need,
so
but there's pressing more priority areas, and when I don't, in my opinion,
all right, but
I
let
don't
me
think
get to that.
we're yeah.
Let me get to that because I know you could complain and argue all day. You're a loose cannon, hence the title. You get what I'm saying? And I know you would. You could spend the next 45 minutes dragging Arteta through the mud for all the things he hasn't done. You get me? So I'm gonna land this year. So basically, my thing is now, right? We've tied up all the like Kepa. We ain't even talked about Kepa. I know a lot of men are like, Chelsea reject, but Kepa did well at Bournemouth last season. Yes, he let in an odd few dodgy goals, but all keepers do, yeah. And he was solid for Real Madrid when he went to Real Madrid, but they had Courtois. They were never going to keep him, right? So I feel like that's a good bit of business because he's never going to take the spot of Raya. Raya's won 2 Golden Gloves, like whatever, over the last 2 seasons. We don't really need a keeper that's going to come in and challenge Raya. You just need someone there that if Raya has to rest the game or he is injured, someone that can fill the void, innit? Yeah. So you've got Kepa in for 5 mil instead of spending 30 something mil or what we was going to spend on Garcia, who's going to want to start, innit? He's going to come in, knock the
In
door.
isolation, I can appreciate that's good business, but the optics again, it
Here
just
we
leaves
go.
a lot to be desired. It's
All
another
right,
Chelsea
but let me
reject.
land. All right, yeah. So now we've dealt with all the little loose ends that we might need. We've got a little bit of we've been able to replace Jorginho, yeah, and we've got the party replacement. Like we've got two in, two out, two in, yeah. All
Yeah.
right, we've got a keeper in. Neto's gone. We've got a keeper in. We're looking at another defender, which I feel like that link is strong. I feel like we was linked with Hato as well from Ajax, who's a left back. That would make me think that if we're looking at another left back, possibly they might be thinking about moving Miles Lewis Skelly into midfield, which then would give you your competition in midfield, wouldn't it not? Do you get me? Because one thing for another, we do not know the full plans, innit? We don't know what's going to happen. But if we were to bring in another left back, that would make me think that Skelly, they have the option to play Skelly in midfield or play him at left back, bringing in another left back and then bringing in a defender. But my point is that now you have the rest of the budget and the rest of the transfer window to now focus on your attacking options. Yes, we would have loved to have got it all done early, but now we've dealt with all the little bullshit, we've got all the little niggles and all the little other little signings out the way. Now you can look at what you've got left in the budget, what you need, and all right, let's go big on those players. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I hear exactly what you're saying. I just feel like the level at which we're operating at isn't the same level as our peers, your Liverpools, your Manchester Cities. So yeah, we're addressing the areas, but we're not addressing the areas with the ambition that I think a club like Arsenal should be. And to answer Joanne's question, I don't know if you've seen it there, Doug. She's asking if you don't like the look of the title race by Christmas, does Arteta get the chop? For me, Arteta should have got the chop at the end of this season.
And listen, I'm not gonna have you come on this show and start calling names like you've been calling man names behind the scenes. Yeah,
I didn't call you anything. I'm just answering Joanne's question. That's what I'm saying.
All right. So if it don't look like you're in a title race, all right, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like if we're not in a title race come Christmas, but we've made it through to the last 16 of the Champions League, and we're still in the FA Cup, and we're still in cups, but we're out of the title race, I would let it run. I'll run it. I'll give him to the end of the season.
Wow, you'll give him.
No. You'll
give him another 2 or 3 years.
No, because if we get knocked out of everything, if we get knocked out of everything this season coming up, if we get knocked out of everything and we're not in the league, I'm at a point where I will have to agree that you may not be the man.
You can't even get the words out, bro.
I can get the words out, but you know what I mean? I will have to agree and say that we might have to give my man the chop. But I am an Arteta in guy. I don't feel like it right now. Like and we talked on this. I come from an era where man was going to games, brother. I was at the Carabao Cup when man. Look at you saw the clip, man. See the picture of me on on Sky Sports when we were losing 3-1 to Man City.
Yeah.
And then they want to zoom in on my face.
Yeah, you didn't look happy at all, man.
I didn't look happy. I've been through the mud with this team, innit? So to now actually, and when I was in the mud, I was just wishing that my team could compete. Do you get what I'm saying? And
so that's why I think that's why you're just you're too scared to take risks.
No, listen, I'm not gonna let you do it. I am. Listen, I'm not gonna let you. Man, I ain't shook or nothing.
Oh gosh! Are you seeing what Kishanja said? Yeah, he's saying Rodrigo's not starting for Real Madrid again. What are you saying? Like, do you think there's legs in that? Do you reckon we could get him?
I watched the game the other day. Rodrigo didn't even warm up for the second half. He started with Valverde out on the right, and then did he start with Arden Güler? No, he brought Arden Güler on. Yeah, Rodrigo didn't get a look in, and that says to me that they don't want to play him in case of injury, because I feel like even though Real Madrid have done a lot of business, they've done a lot of business with free transfers. They still got to bring money in from player sales somewhere or another, innit? Do you get what I mean? Yeah, you can't just keep doing these free transfers, big contracts, but not make any revenue through a sell.
And I think more importantly, Rodrigo just wants to he wants to play. He wants to know that he is a mainstay in a team or a main cog in a manager's plans. And I don't think he's getting those assurances right now. And that might make that might provide an opening for a team like Arsenal. Because I've also I've seen like ITKs online, like they call it, I think in the nose, I think that stands for, talking about obviously our links to Eze and how we've kind of agreed personal terms since last summer. But the reason why we're probably not going to press forward on him is because we're going to keep Rodrigo as a priority, just in case he's an option. But I don't know if I want to use the whole summer chasing him to no end.
But put it this way, all right, so look at it like this, though. I don't think it's a chasing to the end, but I feel like the Rodrigo thing isn't something that's going to gather legs straight away. I think they're going to come back from the Club World Cup. Like, they're going to play some preseason games, whatever. See, like, if he gets towards the end of the transfer window and they've still got a full squad intact, remember, they brought in that guy from Argentina, and they're gonna, like, you never know, because they might want to hold Rodrigo just in case they get an injury. Like, do you get what I mean? But if it gets to a point where they know they're gonna,
you mean like an ambitious club would do?
Say that again.
You mean like an ambitious club would do? Like, keep playing.
Yeah, but then keep players there, but then at the same time, Rodrigo's in contract. Like, I feel like if you're referring to us, who should we have kept? Listen, I don't want to go back to the past, because I know this brother will chat on about the past. You get me?
No.
But I just think that it's
you
not,
leave the show, my bro.
Yeah. But break this down. Hear this now. So let's say I feel like in an ideal world in my head, what I think would be mental is if, let's say, we go and get Šeško, we get him for a good price, right? let's say Rodrigo does come available, and right now the word around the town is like what 90 million euros or something or whatever, yeah. So you spend that kind of money, you've already spent 130, 140 on attackers, yeah. And then they're saying Eze is around what 58, 60 million or something. You can get him for, or a bit more.
I think it's 20. I think it's 60 mil or something with 8 mil add-ons, 20 mil installments, free 20 mil installments.
Yeah.
This is what I'm reading. Nothing's verified.
So
nothing's verified.
I feel like all those players are doable.
So, so when do we strike? Because we have to take into account we got to have a preseason. We got to get these boys gelled in. Remember, like Liverpool have to run a Premier League, and they've got their players in early. They know who they're dealing with. Kirkes, Wirtz, Frimpong.
I hear that, and I hear that. But in an ideal world, yes, I think Liverpool. The thing why I think Liverpool had to move fast, right? In terms of identifying what they wanted to move in, is because like it just breaks, like you think like, look, Trent left, that's a big dent. Yeah, you go and get Frimpong in early, you do what you need to do. I feel like maybe them deals and those players were maybe easier to get over the line. Like when you even look at the deals we've done, as soon as we've established that's the deal that we're doing, we've done it quick. Do you get what I'm saying? I just think when it comes to attackers and picking the right striker, and what Arsenal are probably doing is making sure they make the right decision.
But why are you so excusing of Arsenal's behavior when it comes to?
I'm not excusing, brother.
You are a little bit.
Listen, I was having a breakdown at the start. Right, so listen, at the start of the transfer window, when the season ended, especially how it ended with us getting knocked out by our PSG and how everything happened, yeah. And then when I think the here we go with Zubimendi before the season ended with my man kind of got me on a hype like everything's gonna move quick. Do you get what I'm saying? So I was all like, oh yeah, who we getting? What's going on? Checking my phone every day, and then I had to kind of sit back and just like take a breather and just think about it for a second. Like, yes, it would be lovely that we do these things now, but it's not happened. So we can't think about what we should have done 2 weeks ago. It ain't happened, or what we should do now. Like now, it looks like Baz said in the group, it looks like the team is Arsenal are getting active, which they have. We're looking like we've got 3 players coming in, potentially a fourth if this defender thing does happen. But one thing we do know for certain, is that Arsenal will jump in the market for a striker. And I think that's 100% for certain. Arsenal know that they can't go into the season without a striker.
I would have thought they knew that. I know you're gonna banter me for this, but I would have thought they knew that in January, and they didn't do that. So
yeah.
I just don't think anything is guaranteed.
I feel like in January they explored the. Put it this way: if Isak and Šeško are your targets, yeah. Yes, they may have been able to get some loan deals, or maybe look at getting some loan deals, and they never. I can't excuse that. But then if you have certain targets and players that you want to go for and you can't get them in January, where a lot of teams didn't do business. Marouche went to City, and City just spending money.
City's an anomaly. City's an anomaly. They always spend money. But let's look at Liverpool didn't do business in summer, and they're moving correct.
Yeah, they're moving correct. But I'm not going to sit here and look at a next man's back garden. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and watch my man mow the lawn.
You might as well, because something's happening in our garden.
Yeah, but things are happening. This is the thing, though. I feel like
wait, let me land. That's unfair. That's unfair. Things are happening, but
things are happening, but it's because everyone has an opinion on how fast and how everything should move, and that's the thing. Like, put it this way: if you have a company and you have a business, right? Like, let's say I run my clothing business, yeah. You can't tell me when to drop my next drop. I'm gonna drop my next drop when I feel it's right for me to drop the next drop. No one could be messaging. No, but the point I'm trying to make is with Arsenal, we can all have an opinion as fans. Yeah, it's like we should do it now. But how do we not know? Because nothing's come out the club. How do we not know that they are in control of the situation and doing things according to how they want to do it?
Anecdotal evidence. We sometimes, because you know what you do, yeah, which I admire you for, because I actually admire how positive that you are when it comes to Arsenal. I admire and you're gonna think I'm mugging, but I'm not. I admire how dedicated and how down you are for Arteta's phases, his regime.
It's not Arteta, man. You always refer it to Arteta. It's not.
All right. Well, okay.
It's the club as a whole. It's the club as a whole.
So me that loves the club as a whole, I'm not just. I kind of So for me, it's like it's not just been 3 seasons, not just been 6 years that Arteta's been in charge. It's been like 19 or 20 years since we changed our ownership model. Like we've been like I think we've been fleeced for a while. We've not if for the younger Arsenal fans, they might
Yeah,
not get it the same way you and I might get it, but we've seen trophies. We've
yeah,
seen Arsenal operate in a way that we're now watching our club and it's foreign to us. But what I'm now finding, yeah, is Mikel Arteta and his new like regime is slowly changing the culture of the club, whereby we're kind of starting to become accepting of what I would call mediocrity. Because everything you're saying and all the excusing that you're doing is, yeah, man, what's happening behind the scenes could be this, and maybe with brother, it's washed.
yeah.
We
But
should not be doing that, bro.
I'm not.
We should
I don't feel like I'm making
like
excuses.
I'm
I feel
seeing
like I
Kishan.
just.
Sorry, I'm seeing Kishan in the comments asking who would you prefer, Rodrigo, Eze, or Leao? Bro, I don't think we're gonna get any of them. If you, but I would probably prefer Rodrigo just because of where he's come from or whatnot. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Mikel Arteta
Alright,
is happy with
alright.
Martinelli and he's happy with Trossard.
Nah,
So
no, no.
Kishan,
Listen,
I don't
listen,
know if you
listen, listen.
support Arsenal. Forget about it, bro. Arsenal's not ambitious, bro, and I love the club. But I'm just the best way to deal with an Arsenal season, I go to a bare games. Trust me, I'm there all the time. But the best way to live peacefully is to know who you are and know who your club is. Bro.
Hey, I'm sick to death of you, bro. Because you always come with this depression talk, bruv. You
It's not
always
even depression.
every
I
time
just
I
want,
talk,
I just
no,
want
but
more
you
people
always
to
come.
know where we
You
are.
always come with this anti, like, and then the wickedest thing is you be the first one chatting the most shit in the WhatsApp group when we're winning games. Like
Because I'm an
being off your
Arsenal
chest,
fan.
like, yeah, I
Because I'm an
hear it.
Arsenal fan.
But this is the thing. I have more optimism than you do. Let's face it,
fair,
right?
fair
We've
enough.
been here, like we talk
I,
about this all the time. I am very much more optimistic than you are, right? And I truly believe that I don't feel like we're going to come out of this window not securing a top name, and I feel like
I
Arsenal
hope you're right.
know. I feel like I hope I'm right, and you know what? I'm willing to stand on it and put money on it. That I feel like they know they have to come out of this window doing something big. It
Yeah.
can't be a window where they, like I think even if they were to go and get it's the hope that kills you. Now it is, yeah. I like listen. I don't think that they think that they could go and get Ollie Watkins and Semieno from Bournemouth and think that they're doing enough. That
Mhm.
or you get me like an equivalent of that. Like, let's say Mbremu, he's obviously going United, but let's say they went and got an Mbremu and an Ollie Watkins and feel like that's enough. That I feel like Arsenal now need to make a marquee signing like a Rodrigo, a statement of intent. Do you get what
Yeah,
I'm saying? A Rafael,
yeah.
Rafael Leao, or
Yeah,
do
like kind of
something
like when
like
we
that.
did that Mesut Ozil and Sanchez, and it
Yeah,
got us.
Sanchez, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
have to, and I think and I feel like the reason why they're taking their time is because they're looking for that option. Like, could it like, and also in the window, things can happen. So let's say you rush out and you go and spend money now, and a Desiree Doué, oh no, Bacola comes available because obviously I've seen that there's been links to Bacola from
Oh, is it?
PSG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like say like someone like that comes available. Rafael Leao's on the table, but then can Rafael Leao do the tracking back and the work that Martinelli does? That's another thing why I feel like Martinelli gets obliged because the thing with Martinelli and Saka, they both work hard as
Yeah.
wingers. They do work hard, innit? Do you get what I'm saying? So you've got to find similar. You've got to find a player that's willing to put the work in. I think Rodrigo fits the mold for that. Do you get what I mean? But does Rafael Leao work that hard at Milan? I don't know. I can't really say I've watched him close enough. Do you get what I mean? Like, so you also got to find that as well. Do you get what I mean? So I feel like they're gonna do it. I feel like they're just they I feel like Sheshko is the main target. If it really gets to a point, they will wait and wait and wait. And if they can't get Sheshko and they know they've got Coquerez lined up, they'll go and we'll get even one of them too. I reckon that will. I think in the dream
Who would you
world
prefer out of them two?
right now at this point, I was Coquerez at the start. Then when I felt like we was more linked with Sheshko, I moved over to Sheshko. I'm actually at a point where yes, I feel like Sheshko for the age and the ability and the potential of what he can bring, I would go with him. But either way, I'm happy either way. Like if we got Gyökeres and he hits the road running and he gets us 20 goals a season this season, 30 goals, like I take that.
Yeah,
Either
yeah.
way, I just think like us as Arsenal, we've never not been without a A1 striker. You think
Mm.
you date back like we had Sanchez, but then even then, Giroud was doing his thing. You know, we've had Aubameyang, Lacazette come, then Aubameyang come. Do you get me? We've
Yeah,
always had a striker that could do bits, innit? And
yeah,
then,
yeah.
you know, you
And
take
one
back
thing with
before that.
Arsenal is like the way our system is set up and the way Arteta's got it so like well drilled, and this is what I'll give Arteta some credit for. Whoever would like take up the mantle of being our striker, they would get goals because if Mourinho
Oh,
can bang goals,
100%. Yeah,
if
they were 100%.
Havertz can bang goals, then literally anyone can bang goals.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So, but I mean, I've always like Sesko, and then recently I've kind of pivoted a bit more towards Gyökeres, just purely because I feel like Gyökeres is pretty much a bit more of a. You know what though? I've heard that what RCP said, yeah, like Super Mikel ain't ever buying someone like Leo. I've heard that banded about a little bit because Mikel Arteta doesn't tend to like maverick. Let me not say mavericks. He doesn't tend to like big egos or people that like Leao seems like he strikes me somewhat like a bit of an Aubameyang kind of personality, and I don't know that Mikel Arteta like warms to those kind of people. So I get where he's coming from, but Mikel Arteta is going to have to adapt and learn how to manage various personalities because most like superstars or most like talented people are a bit tapped. They're weird, like you know what I mean. Like you've done like tour managing and you've been on the road with like big artists, big artists. So you probably know like they're very like eccentric, innit? You know what I mean? Like, and they have to be that way to be as talented and to be where they are. And that's the same goes to football with football. And if Mikel Arteta can't curb those personalities, then again, this is why I was ready to see someone else. You get what I mean?
That's why I feel like Rodrigo is probably the perfect fit. I think Eze probably the perfect fit as well. I feel like Rafa Leao is a player that it's the same reason why I feel like we didn't go and get Osman's LV, you know, when he coming up in the Lambo, jumping out, LV everywhere, Gucci everywhere, chains dripping, like, and he probably
you know
that
these Nigerians in London, you can't try. And I'm a Nigerian myself. Before you lot get on to me, like, these Nigerians in London, you give them money, they go mad, bro.
And I don't, and the thing is, I don't even think Arteta would have minded, but I feel like Aubameyang's giving man PTSD. Do you get what I mean? You see it with Aubameyang, and feels I don't want to have to go through that again. So he's gonna go for what he wants to go for, and I feel it's a shame, but we don't know. We don't know until we see what comes in. He might actually have to get to a point where he feels like I'm gonna need to have to deal with one of these guys. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna have to go and get a Rafa Leao and see if he can mold him to have the conversation with him and see if we can trust him. Do you get what I'm saying? Same, like, you know what I mean? So at some point that he's gonna have to do something. They're gonna have to go and get someone big in. You get what I mean? I would
I hope you're right, man.
I would assume that
because you know what,
will be a workhorse.
You don't want to be wrong, like you, because I know you think I say all this stuff so that I can have receipts and say, yeah, told you so. But nah, bro, like if I would be topless at the top of the, I'll be on the poles at the parade doing the most if we win. So trust me, I want to win more than anyone. But you know, sometimes I look at what's happening and I'm just a little bit like skeptical. But it's people like you that does give me a little bit of hope. Like when you talk like this, I'm like, you know what?
No, but I have to because I have to
say this. Then
but it's because I look at things from a different. Like I look at it from all angles. Listen, I can lead with my heart and be vexed and be angry, but then sometimes the mind takes over and I start to look at things. I said it to you. I look at things from different perspectives and just try. Doesn't mean I agree. Like if they're spinning plates and waiting on them to find the right striker, I may not agree with it. I might understand it, but I don't agree. Like I would love for us to have put shown some intent and just said 150 mil. Let's try and go and get Isak. The money's there. Let's just try and go and get him. I would love for them to go and do that. But they're probably waiting.
But you're just being realistic.
Being realistic, they probably wait. And now in the way that we do business, they're probably waiting for the player to suggest it. Wait for Newcastle to maybe say they're willing to sell. Do you get what I mean? And
Did you see the there was like a clip of Partey talking about how he left Atletico. Was it Atletico and then joined Arsenal? Did you see that?
Because of Berta,
It wasn't actually because of Berta. Actually, it was because of the president. But you know, the president of the time. So I don't think it was because of Berta. I think people kind of misunderstood that. But the reason why I brought that up, is because for me, it kind of gave a bit of an insight as to how Arsenal do business. We're not really aggressive. We like to wait until the player feels like it's time. It's like You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
kind
no,
of
100%. Like, and then you have clubs like Perez that at Real Madrid, who is very aggressive. He is
yeah,
very
yeah,
tapping
yeah.
up players. He is very breaking rules and doing
Mm.
what he wants to do. I feel like we are very much. I feel Arteta's thing has always been that he wants the players who want to come. Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then it allows
I'll
if
tell you
they're
this to get over himself. I can't even lie.
yeah, no, he does. But then also it's like, but then I get it because if you know a player has agreed to come and he only wants Arsenal, it makes negotiating like look at Declan Rice, getting Declan Rice for 100 mil. Now let's say Declan Rice could have been swayed Man City or Arsenal, then
Mm.
you come into a bidding war because now he's saying to Man City, listen, look, if you can get me, I don't mind coming, but also I don't mind going Arsenal. So they might think, you know what, we can sway this player bid. Then before you know it, Declan Rice is 110 million,
Yeah, yeah.
115 million. Then what our strong point with the Declan Rice deal was that he only wanted to come Arsenal. So therefore, West Ham couldn't go elsewhere and try to get other suitors. They had to deal with Arsenal and try to get the most money out of Arsenal and potentially lose the deal. Because if he's saying I only want to go Arsenal and they can't manage to sell him anywhere else, then they're gonna have to kind of negotiate with Arsenal, innit? And then you end
Yeah.
up getting your deal. So I feel like it's a gift and a curse because it also means that for us, deals drag because Arsenal know the player want to come to them. They can take their time getting the player. Do you get what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
drag it out the negotiations where you kind of find with Man City. I'd love if we dealt business the way Man City do business because they just identify the player before you know it and it hits the news. They've already bid and he's already on his way over to the UK to do a medical.
There's a word for that, my bro. It's called ambition. But we digress. So I want to
Yeah,
on a positive note, we've extended Miles Lewis Skelly. That's big bit of
yeah, big
that's
business. Yeah.
big bit of business. Obviously Gabriel Magalhaes, we extended him so a couple of weeks back. That's a big bit of business as well. So I'm excited about that. I hope Saliba does, but I'm not sure he will. He might have one eye on Real Madrid.
I think he's got 2 years on his contract with Saliba. I feel like he will probably extend, but I feel like to cover bases, getting this young boy in for Valencia is kind of tuning him up, ready to take over from because one of our defenders will leave eventually, and I feel Arsenal can't keep letting players go for free.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
at some point they're gonna have to start learning to sell assets, innit?
Yeah,
And
yeah, true.
if they can get money for Saliba or one of these defenders, you just got to make sure you're ready to cover them, innit? Do you get what I
Yeah,
mean?
I hear that, but boy, let's win something before we let him go, man. We need to leave
No,
him.
100%,
We need
100%. I
him.
feel
We
like
need
we
something.
do, but then also I feel like we need to be one step ahead of the game, which we've never normally been.
Mm,
Do you get what I mean?
yeah.
We've always like lost the player, then like we saw it. We lost RVP, and then we tried to get in Giroud to cover such a great. There was no one waiting in the wings. We had to go and get it, and it wasn't right. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Like having someone come and be able to learn underneath these players to then take over the position also makes them fight harder for their position. Because if you got the likes of Calafiori and this another youngster sitting there waiting in the wings to become, look even Kivior. Kivior now, you got to take him serious because the second half of the season when he came in and had to fill a job, everyone thought he was going to be the weak link, and he was actually strong. So you know what I mean? Like, and I feel that, and that leads me back to saying about Arteta now understanding that he has to trust the players because I feel like he never trusted them before, so he always went with the same 11. These injuries may bring out a different side of Arteta because he's now learned that with all these injuries, he had to trust Ranieri. He had to trust Kubior. He had to trust Lewis Skelly, which I don't think if he had a full 11, a strong 11, we would have got to see these players. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do. Well, we'll see, man. We'll see the evolution. I mean, I've given up on him. So for me, I hope he works out for you lot because I don't think it was going to work out.
Big up Lonnie as well for the affiliate anniversary. Big yourself up, saying hello. New chatter on Twitch. Love you, man.
Let me ask you this thing here, because I know we've been on for a little while, so we're probably going to be wrapping up soon. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Yeah. So you see that when Arsenal was in the height of our banter era, yeah, towards the end of Wenger's tenure, yeah. So let's say the last 5 years. So think about that. So and then think about
end of Wenger's tenure in the last 5 years, where he banked a couple of FA Cups and that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was our banter era. And then think about our last 5 years under Arteta, where everyone's saying, "Yeah, we're back. We're the best team in the champion." Well, he said we were the best team in Champions League. Blah blah blah. Who was more successful, in your opinion?
obviously Wenger brought home the FA Cups, but I feel like it's one of these things. I can look at. I'm gonna weigh it up like this. Yeah, I'm gonna weigh it up like this for me, right? In terms of where I think and the direction where the club's going right now, I feel Arteta is taking us and moving us to where we're going, innit? And I think yes,
How long you prepared to give him?
banter era, but then you look at Man United in their banter era. Yes, they're still winning trophies, but the club was in turmoil. The club is in turmoil. They finished 19th in the league or 17th in the league, and they still managed to bring a FA Cup home last season, but it only covered the cracks of where the club is at its present time.
But
So
we finished,
sometimes I
we
feel
finished
like
in the top 4 like 3 times in the I think 3 or 4 times in his last 5 years. Finishing second in one of them, got to a semi-finals.
Arteta.
No, talk about Wenger. So although you're because I say
was
that
out of Wenger was out of he got
no,
he was in Europa,
check it.
wasn't he?
Yeah, but even in Europa, he got to. I think he was like. I think got to the finals of a League Cup. We lost. Got to the semi-finals of Europa. I think that's probably when we played against Partey and that.
Yeah, they beat us.
Yeah. We finished in the top 4 about 3 or 4 times out of the 5 years, and then we got 2 FA Cups and a Community Shield. But that was our banter era. So I'm just trying to remind you. I'm trying to remind you what wasn't good enough back then.
Yeah.
I'm just reminding you what wasn't good enough back then. Yeah.
And
then think about.
I feel like
think about what it's been the last 5 years, and then think about how happy you've been. Because I'm just trying to remind you who we used to be.
Put it this way, I hear it, but then I feel like Wenger stayed long enough to become the villain, innit?
Yeah, of course.
And I feel like Arteta at the moment, I think the problem that we have with the whole Arteta thing is that Arteta wasn't the guy everybody wanted. Do you get what I'm saying? And I feel like with him, he could have a good moment, but then as soon as he's not performing or achieving what everyone wants him to do, then all of a sudden he's the villain. And that is the problem that we have. Like, he's changed. You got to remember, even when Wenger, how bad the club was, you're saying, even though Wenger won the FA Cups, it wasn't still enough to take us out of the toxic atmosphere that the club was in. Even it was so bad. I don't like, and big up that, AFTV and everyone, like, big them up, yeah. But even then, people was using that platform to just dig at us, not them per se on the platform, but I'm talking about friends would be slapping it in WhatsApp groups. Look at these, man, because we were going through it. You get what I mean? And that was banter to everybody else. But as fans, that you had the troopses and these people that are hurting, going to games, and they're going through it, and man are mocking us, sending it into the WhatsApp group. Look at these man crying. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we were going through it, and I think
what Arteta did, to happen again now, though. I didn't even click on it to watch it, but I went on my YouTube, and I saw a suggestion come up with Gabriel Bonneho saying that we're shopping like we're in Asda.
Yeah, but he's not. Yeah, but that's.
I said, hold on, why can't? What, they're trying to ban us again?
But I feel like one thing we shouldn't do is play up to what the media is doing, because everyone is so shook of Arsenal being successful. They are uniting that on some kumbaya thing to oppress us. Yeah.
Yeah, right? I like you, man.
Yeah. Like so one thing I won't do. Bongloho never liked Arsenal, so he's never going to say nothing nice. He's a Villa man, yeah, and we always used to beef them, yeah. He's not going to say nothing nice about us, right? And I feel like everyone is gaslighting fans into doing a madness, yeah. There is fear amongst rival fans that we can eventually, because the one thing about Arsenal that they can have is that they've never won it in Europe, and they can chat rubbish and do all of this and say all of this about us. But when we was in the semi-final going into the PSG game, there was fear. No one could hand on heart say that we was not gonna make it through. There was fear. Do you know what I mean? All the times that we've been in these title races, when we've dropped off, it's been relief. Do you get what I'm saying? Because they are fearful, and when you look at House last season, look at the headlines,
I don't know that I agree with you, to be honest. Because I don't think they're fearful of us, because we aren't being showing anything to be fearful of.
Of course, I get
your premise.
We've improved. Like, one thing I'll say about Arsenal right now, right?
Newcastle's improved, but no one ain't scared of Newcastle.
We
are. We're scared of Newcastle, but no one else is.
In the last 3 years, right? In the last 3 seasons, right? Our record against the Big Six is tremendous. I think we lost 3 games in 3 seasons. Yeah, right. All right, wait. But remember, we was even under Unai Emery, we was getting slapped by Liverpool, we were getting slapped by Man City, we were going to these teams and getting slapped over. That's done now. So the only thing that Arsenal have to address is the
Two of
mid-table
those
teams.
teams in those big six are getting slapped by everyone, and that's Tottenham and Manchester United. So it doesn't
Yeah.
really hit the same
Look,
anymore.
yeah, look,
Chelsea kind of gets slapped by a lot of people too.
yeah.
So,
Chelsea gets slapped, but one
yeah.
thing I will say is that yes, you can say that in our banter era, yes, Wenger was successful. He brought home the FA Cups, but it's a different time, and where we're at now as a club, I'd rather be here as we are moving forward than not be here. Do you get what I'm saying? Because you can look at the lack of success right now under Arteta, and you can really look at it and say he's just unlucky. Like you go back to back twice against the best City team there ever has been that won the treble and have been dominating Liverpool season after season after season after season. Yeah, Liverpool only won it once in the 7 years that them man went back to back, right? Once, and in Arteta's third season, he goes against these man with a depleted squad where he hasn't even fully built his squad. That shows that there is a bit of talent in there. But then sometimes I think with it as well, I think that with it as a new manager, there's going to be times where you're going to get things wrong. There's going to be times when you might get cocky and you have to be humbled. Like remember, all these managers that have got the experience of being through this. Pep would have had a time when he got experience at Barca and he had to humble himself. There would have been times Klopp had it at Dortmund where he might have won it and then um, um, Bayern Munich come and took it from him and he had to humble himself. Arteta's having those humbling experiences in his 5th year as a manager, isn't it? Like so. It's tough for us because he's having to go through training day while our manager. It would have been lovely if he had gone and done that at Coventry and then gone to somewhere else and then he come to Arsenal with a bit more experience, but he hasn't. So, but from what I've seen already and how quickly he's turned the club around, there is potential there. And it is just a given at some point he will get there. But then if he doesn't, then it would just be a shame. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I feel like you get what I mean with it.
I know, I follow you. So let me ask you this then, because what is your expectations for the season coming? So what is your ideal? What is it that you would like? And then what is your bare minimum that that has to be achieved for you? Everything considered.
All right. So you know me, I'm always across the board with this. Yeah, I feel like we have to win something. I feel like silverware has to come to North London.
Yeah.
Do you get me? I feel like definitely have to bring something. I think we have to challenge for the title and run it back to the end. And hopefully, I would love to see us win it this season. I would love that.
Yeah.
But we can't not challenge. We can't not have a good run in the Premier League. Do you get what I'm saying? And like me personally, I would say like go far in the Champions League and potentially push for Champions League and win the Prem. But something domestically has to come home, innit? Do you get what I'm saying?
So your bare minimum is just win a trophy.
You have to bring something.
Yeah.
Especially where all right, Tottenham and Man United and all like these Chelsea, they won cups that we couldn't be in, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like for all the success, not success, but for all the hard work the players, the manager has put into the club over the last 3 years to come
how good the team is, and
for how good the team is, at least let us have our day in it. But then also, if you can push for the title and take it far, and even have a moment of taking it, then that would be beautiful. And push for Champions League again. I feel like one thing I feel like with this side, even if we'd got past PSG and we got to the final, I feel we would have beaten them. So I feel like this team, even though other teams in the Champions League will get stronger, like your Real Madrid, your Barcelonas, they're all going to get stronger. But I feel like one thing I look at Arsenal and I feel like Arsenal are a team that people will be wary of playing. Do you get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like it's like everyone's talking about Arsenal start of the season, the first 6 games that we got start of the season. All this could make or break Arsenal. But I'm thinking those teams don't want to play us so early. Do you get what I mean? You think Man United want us on the first game at Old Trafford? That could destroy their whole season if we go there and 4-0 them man there. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that could destroy the start of their season.
No, 100%.
They do not want that fixture at home against Arsenal, who are going to have a new striker. Yeah, and they're gonna have a different.
Only thing I'll say, we don't tend to like put them to the sword at Old Trafford, but I get what you.
We don't tend to put them to the sword, but one thing is for certain: we can get a result at Old Trafford. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
you
Of
think
course,
Man City don't want to play up. Like, put it this way, Pep would love. Like, you remember, like the other seasons, they dragged out us playing Pep and them lot till later on in the season. They moved the fixture, and then slid that fixture in when they thought it would be, you know what I mean? It would be detrimental to us, which it kind of was in the end, because that we was like when we eventually played them, it was a mind games thing, and they won the mind games war, innit? Do you get
Oh,
what I'm saying?
you mean that one when they beat us 4-1, I think.
When they beat us 4-1, but you did say, and I got to give you credit for it, you did say about the FA Cup game, and I feel like the FA Cup game did give them the mental advantage later on in the season. Because you know what I'm saying, and I'll give you that. Like, I feel like they were fearing us.
We threw that game. We shouldn't have, but
they were definitely fearing us up until that game. And then we
Yeah,
played that game, and then Eze Ake scored the goal. They beat us 1-0, and then it was like, no, we can beat these lot, and it kind of kick-started their season.
Yeah.
You get what
I
I'm
remember
saying?
I was fuming after that game, innit? I remember that. You just reminded me. I was fuming.
I think we was on the phone arguing for an hour or two. Where I was like, no, we should have went. No, we did the right thing, and we had chances. But now looking back, I see where it changed. It changed the momentum, because I think up until then we were flying so much. They didn't want to play us.
No,
so I think that not to keep badgering on, but I feel like we have to come out with something.
Fair enough. No, fair enough.
And then how do you feel?
I'm with you. I felt like we had to do something this season. So I think next season, I think obviously I'm where I'm at with Arteta, but I don't want to see the fan base or Arsenal get like toxic how it kind of got with Wenger, because I really liked Wenger, and I don't want it to get like that for Arteta, because I like Arteta as well, like, even though it might not seem like I do, like I actually do. So I don't want it to get like that, and I think for it to not do that, we do need to win something. Like we need to win something, and ideally we need to win the Premier League. That's what we need to win, in my opinion. We need the Premier League or the Champions League. If we can't win the Premier League or the Champions League, get me a domestic double, or get me one at a minimum, but get me a domestic double, because then you can still kind of walk into next season and not really hear nothing from nowhere else, and your manager gets a bit more time, and we can build. And obviously, if we're getting a domestic cup double or something, and we're challenging in the Prem, like you said, you still kind of keep yourself where players will want to roll to you, and your manager can have more time to flex and work out how to make us impenetrable in the Premier League eventually. But unfortunately, if he does not come away with any kind of silverware, I think his position at the club's untenable, and I think we actually have to look at replacing him. That's where I'm at.
And I can't argue with that on that. And even like Silently Killing said, we've had more injuries this season than we had in the past 3 years as well. Bear in mind. And I agree with him. Like I've said, that I feel like we was unlucky this season.
I agree with him as well. But if you listen, if you catch up with the show, Silently Killing, I said that I think some of those injuries we could have been a bit more proactive and got ahead of if we built our squad properly in that summer transfer window. So I mean, I think I think we just have to. It is what it is at the moment, and there's no point dwelling on the past. But let's just hope we all learn from our mistakes, man, and up the freaking Gunners, man. Come on, you Gunners, man.
Trust me, up the Gunners, man. Up the Gunners. So Silently says, true, fair play. And I think, going forward, we just need better. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we do in the transfer window. You know what I'm saying? I think we'll give it a week, see what happens over the next course of the next 7 days, and we'll come back here. I hope everyone that's tuned in, whether you're on Twitch, make sure you drop a follow on Twitch, and if you're on YouTube, make sure you drop a follow and a subscribe. The link for the YouTube is in the Twitch comments as well. So if you're on Twitch, go and make sure you jump on the YouTube. We'll be back. You get me? But I feel like this season there's a lot to play for, and I feel like we. Listen. I don't want to gas you up, but I feel like we're gonna surprise them with something this transfer window, bro.
Listen, I hope so,
like
man.
Something's gonna happen, man.
I hope so, because when I come back here, if you're right, Trust me, my tone will change. I'll be like, Your Honor, I'm
Listen.
sorry, 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 sorry.
Hey, trust me, you're gonna come up with your tail between your legs, bro.
Trust
But
me, bro.
listen,
But
no,
yeah,
man. Listen, Strides, it's been a pleasure having you
yeah, man.
on.
Thank you
You
for
get
having
me?
me, my brother.
Brother, we're gonna do this often, so don't watch that. And then if you love it, listen, people that are tuning in late, I see some people are joining a bit late. Listen, make sure you like, you subscribe, you jump in, get involved. We're gonna be dropping this on a regular basis. Big up yourselves. You done know the settings. Me and Strives are out for tonight, but we'll
Jeez.
be back again soon. Big up yourselves. Done know.